Battlebit is probably one of the most successful games of this year. But, contrary to what other studios would want you to believe, this was developed with a starting budget of $0. No capital from a publisher, no capital from an investor. This project was created by an incredibly small team who, even after years of development, only started receiving a few $100s a month from community donations. These donations fueled the development of a project up to its release, a meager amount from the community combined with hard work from a small number of developers who created this game in their spare time. Now, in the past, if you've been following this channel, you'll know that I have repeatedly advocated that this would be possible by a small development team at some point in the future of the video game development industry. However, those statements got me into hot water with both other studios and creators who said I was delusional and that something like this would never be possible. However, since Battlebit's release, the concept of requiring millions of dollars and a massive studio to create a hugely successful multiplayer first-person shooter game has been completely shattered. Battlebit is a development team that is 100% online. They have no offices. They have no investor. They have no publisher. They are a ragtag group of people who have been coordinating themselves through services like Discord and utilizing publicly available code management software. This is the future of video game development. However, there's something else that Battlebit is doing right that I don't think enough people are talking about. Not just how great the game is, but how they've been able to foster an incredible community. While the developers of Battlebit were building their own game, which has absolutely become a massive success today, the developers still found time to help and support other development studios working on other various games. And I know this because the developers of Battlebit even assisted us with the development of our own games. And in return, some of our team members also helped them with some of the assets required for the creation of their game. That is how it should be. Indie development studios helping one another, just like content creators collaborating with one another. And in the AA and AAA industry, I have rarely, if ever, seen development teams for other studios, even games like Insurgency Sandstorm, Squad, or others, reaching out and assisting indie developers or influencers with their own game projects that those studios don't own. It seems like a lot of studios, unless they actually have a piece of your pie, they want nothing to do with you. But indie teams like Battlebit are considerably more wholesome and open-minded, not only supporting other indie developers, but also working closely with their influencer community in order to improve the game. Battlebit should absolutely be a case study on how not just to create a good game, but foster a positive and supportive community surrounding that game. Insurgency Sandstorm, Squad, World War III, even Escape from Tarkov should take note. This is the future of game development. So, today, if you want to pick up a copy of this game for yourself, I actually have Steam keys available to my general YouTube supporters right here on YouTube. And besides that, let's dive into a live match of Battlebit. All right, here we go. We are beginning this battle with 256 players, naturally, vehicles, large open maps, and destructible environments. Now, really, again, I hope that anyone watching this who has been in the FPS tactical community for the past, 5-6 years or so, I hope you all are going to remember when there were a lot of people that said that this was impossible. Not only this style of gameplay, not only, having all of these different things in a single game, but also the fact that it would be impossible to be done by a small group of people. This is something that I've really talked about aggressively for many years, and the reason that I knew that it was possible is because at the time I was actually starting to work with some of the developers, not just of Battlebit, but a wide variety of other developers in the community who were showing me things and were doing things that illustrated that this stuff was possible. And the thing is here, like, keep in mind, I'm an idiot, right? Like, I'm a YouTuber. I really shouldn't have any business knowing anything about game development. But this begs the question. If I'm so stupid, why is it that all of the apparently quote-unquote smart people, the lead developers of so many other games, including Squad, which very openly criticized the things that I said and said that those things were impossible, why is it that they didn't see this coming? Why not? And I think the answer to that question is because they're not as smart as you think they are. And I want to double down on this. I know that there is a culture in the game industry where whatever game is really hype at the time, there is this culture of, like, worshiping whatever developers of that project like they're gods, as if they can never be wrong, as if anyone that says anything other than what those developers think, that everyone else is stupid and incompetent and just generally incapable compared to the developers making whatever super hype game at the time is trending. And I think that is a dangerous mentality, because I think that is what... I just got sniped. Somebody help me. Oh, yes, yes, hello. Yes, thank you. Watch out for the sniper over there. He'll definitely kill you.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Almost got me.
I know. Yeah, just keep your head down. And I think that mentality is dangerous because it leads to situations like this, where you have people saying stuff is impossible that obviously isn't.
Oh my god, can I run the corner? Oh.
And, you know, another feature that I really like about Battlebit is the fact that there is a mute button. Boom. There we go. Love the fact that you can mute people. But anyways, seriously, I think that this is a serious concern, and I really hope that everyone who is following the development of Battlebit and is watching the launch of Battlebit right now takes to heart this situation. A lot of the influencers and streamers who are just now starting to get excited about Battlebit, keep in mind, these developers have been here for years. They've been working on this project for years, and they had basically no funding. And you have to keep in mind, you know, if developers like Battlebit are out there and have been out there for this long and no one knew about them, what other developers are there out there doing things like this, making things like this that can really turn the entire industry upside down? I hope that makes you all think, because many, many years ago, when I met the people who were working on this project and they showed it off to me, that's when it really started to change my mind according to what was possible. That was actually part of what fueled my narrative when I started making the videos that I made that pissed everybody off. A lot of that inspiration came from projects like this that I was watching the development of. And I can tell you right now, there are more projects and more developers just like this working on things that are just as, if not more so, incredible. And I hope that you all keep your eyes open and don't spend too much time wasting your attention on big AAA, AA developers and studios that are, quite frankly, tone deaf and completely out of touch with the industry. That's obviously my take on this entire situation, and I feel like the successful release of Battlebit is just another example of this very real situation. Now, as far as Battlebit itself, I have really been enjoying this, and I think that there is not just a lot of potential with Battlebit by itself as a game, but I think the technology that was utilized to create Battlebit also has a lot of potential. And in this case, I'm not just talking about the Battlebit game features. There's a lot of features in Battlebit that I think are really, really cool, and I think illustrate that these concepts are actually possible to be done in video games at this scale. But in addition to that, the way that the developers created this game, utilizing publicly available software in order to organize their code repositories, in order to manage their team. These are tools, well, that's a shame, I almost got revived. These are tools that are available to everyone. And these are tools that I've really been trying to help educate other influencers, other YouTubers, even other indie developers who are not aware of this stuff, on how to use. Many, many years ago, I started putting together teams that were utilizing different types of open source repository management software and team management software. Things like GitHub are great. But I think one of the reasons that games like Battlebit are becoming easier and easier to make and more cost efficient to develop is because there is a lot more innovation to be done in that space. And the software for team management, the software for code repository management and asset management is getting better, and it's getting cheaper. And I think as, oh my God, Jesus. And I think as that trend continues to accelerate, you're going to see, oh my gosh, you're going to see a massive shift away from offices and giant studios and more towards a collection of individuals that are scattered across the world working remotely. And I know a lot of people don't like the idea of remote work, but I actually think that decentralized teams, decentralized development is absolutely the future, and Battlebit was developed in a decentralized fashion. Man, you know, the more I keep talking about this, the more angry I kind of get, because you all know, for anybody that's been following me, you know I have been saying this stuff for years. I have been saying this stuff for years, and it's at this point where if you're going to make fun of me, if you're going to make not just fun of me, but make fun of anybody that talks about this stuff and promotes this stuff and advocates this stuff, it's not like you're hurting me, right? It's not like you're making fun of me. You're just hurting yourself. And you look at all of these studios with people going out of business, people losing their jobs. Look at Insurgency Sandstorm. Look at Hell Let Loose. Look at even Squad. Look at all of these different franchises that are bleeding out because they're not able to compete against things like Battlebit. And one of the reasons these studios are not going to be able to compete is because they absolutely refuse to innovate and change the way that they organize their teams and how they build products. They still think it makes sense to force everybody to drive in to a studio, to move their entire lives to a specific part of the world. I still remember when I watched the Insurgency Sandstorm studio force everybody to move to Calgary, Canada. I remember how annoyed and frustrated all of those developers were to move basically their entire lives to a part of the world where they really don't want to be. How much of Insurgency Sandstorm's downfall has been related to decisions like that? Forcing your developers to move their lives to places where they don't want to go. Having offices that cost exorbitant amounts of money when it really doesn't increase productivity at all. And if anything, probably decreases productivity. Because the only type of people that you're even going to find who are going to be willing to move their lives and push themselves to go to these places like Calgary, Canada. Sorry, nothing against Calgary, except, you know, something kind of against Calgary. The only people that are going to do that are the people that are going to be so desperate for a career that they may not even be the best in their field. Because the people who are the best in their field are going to be people like the lead programmer for Battlebit, where he knows he doesn't have to uproot his life and move somewhere. That is just the reality of the situation. And if these studios do not change how they operate, how they look at team management and product management, they are going to die. It does not matter how much money they have. It does not matter how many people they think they can buy. nobody is going to want to work for them, and slowly those studios are going to become obsolete. They're going to lose their competitiveness because there's going to be other teams and other studios organizing themselves better and working in a way more decentralized way that gives them the competitive advantage. This is no longer my opinion. This is no longer my opinion. This is the truth. It is the reality, and everyone needs to wake up to this right now or you're fucked. Like, that's it. Like, if you do not wake up to this new reality, you're done. Your studio is done. Your company is done. You might as well just sell all your shares to some big investor that's too stupid to realize what they're buying and then bail. That's what's happening. That is what is happening across the industry. You look at EG7 canning 83. You look at Embracer Group cutting salaries and cutting personnel for Insurgency Sandstorm. You look at Hell Let Loose selling their rights to Team 17. You look at across the board. There is so many data points of exactly this happening. And on top of that, I think a lot of these studios, especially studios like Squad and Sandstorm, they're not interested in collaborating. They're not interested in working with other teams. It's almost like all of these studios are an island. With the developers of Battlebit, I watched them help out so many people. They helped out us. The developers of Battlebit came over to us. They helped us make our game. They gave us all sorts of incredibly valuable advice. And when I actually look at some of the best teams that worked on some of the best games, they all have the same mentality. Even the developers of Hell Let Loose, Black Matter. Black Matter was an incredibly wholesome team. It was a group of people that came over, gave us loads of advice, actually helped us with training on how to make better games in Unreal Engine. But now, those developers who were the ones that made Hell Let Loose what it is today, they're all gone. They're all gone. They're all gone. And man, it's sad, dude. It's really sad. I'm not even angry anymore. It's just disappointing. I think I unlocked a new red dot. So anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. I want to know, actually, honestly, if there's any more information that you guys know about, because there are so many studio closures. There are so many layoffs, but at the same time, it's actually really difficult to get reliable information about these things because a lot of these studios, a lot of these investors are embarrassed. They don't want to admit that this is happening. And it's getting to the point where they can't really hide it anymore, although they're still kind of trying to. They're trying to downplay the situation. They're trying to say, oh, you know, like, this is natural, it's okay, the game is still going to be developed, we're still going to be making incredible products, and then they just don't. They just drop all support for the product, and it just withers away and dies. And then teams get fed up, and they leave, and they start making things like Battlebit. So, man, what do you all think about this entire situation? Obviously, I have been saying the same thing for years and years and years. I would love to know your all's thoughts. And I also can't wait, not just to see what happens with Battlebit, but what happens with more games now that people know that stuff like this is possible. The destructible environments in Battlebit are absolutely fantastic. In fact, many years ago, when I proposed destructible environments for Squad, I don't know how many of you guys actually remember this. There was a period when Squad was first announced, and I had actually made a couple of videos, and I was like, hey, you know, it'd be really cool if you guys could implement, you know, destructible environments. And obviously, the immediate response is, oh, you're stupid, you don't know how game development works, there's no way that would be possible. And the funny thing was, is I was actually working on my own Unreal Engine project at the time, and I was looking into how this destructibility would actually work. And yes, it is difficult. It's difficult to do. But it's not so difficult that a multi-million-dollar studio with the best minds in the industry can't achieve it. Like, can stupid Blue Drake achieve fully destructible environments at scale? Well, I mean, at the time, no. But, I mean, even recently, we showcased our destructibility prototype for Operation Harsh Doorstop. But look, the point is, if there are games like this, if there are games like Battlebit, Why are all of these other studios who are being run by people who said stuff like this was impossible, why are they not making games like this? Why are they not implementing features like this into their games? My opinion is because of everything I just said. Alright, I think we're gonna win. Yeah, victory. Come on, give me a victory. Give me a victory. Hell yeah. Alright, well, that is it from me for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you press that like button. And of course, I have Steam keys for anybody that becomes a YouTube general down below. That's just a supporter on this page. I do have a limited quantity, though. I think I have about 80 left. But, you know, again, for a general tier, that's probably going to last for a while. So go check that out, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.